California to New York, the far left of the Democratic Party is on the rise, and their vision of immigration, identity politics, and crime increasingly is party orthodoxy. Richard Goodstein has been around the party for a long time. He's a former advisor to Bill and Hillary Clinton's presidential campaigns. We thought we'd ask him. He joins us now. So we just spoke to the woman who's likely to be a big-time DA in the Boston area. And she's explaining that if elected in November, she'll basically decriminalize resisting arrest, low-level drug dealing, and shoplifting. And I'm thinking as I'm listening to this, because she's not an isolated case. Like, there are lots of candidates making the same case on the Democratic side this season. Is that really a platform that you're comfortable with? Like, we're cool with shoplifting? Like, shoplifting, no big deal. Theft, resisting arrest, just a little bit of fentanyl selling is okay? Well, what is that?
So the last time we had a Democrat in the White House controlling federal policy as regards criminal justice, we had the lowest crime rates recorded basically in history. Okay, so the notion that somehow Democrats
no, I'm not making a generalization. Oh, that's Bill Clinton, who your party has denounced.
Barack Obama, actually.
Oh, Barack Obama. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but because Bill Clinton was a racist for enforcing the law and hiring all those new cops and getting tough on crime. That's the Democratic view of Bill Clinton. But hold on, I don't want to argue about Obama. I mean, that was a different party. That was a year and a half ago. That was prehistory. The revolution's in progress. I want to talk about now. And right now, you've got prominent Democrats running against prosecuting shoplifting and resisting arrest and drug dealing. And, by the way, hopping the border. Beto O'Rourke is against arresting people for breaking our immigration laws. What do you think of that? Are you okay with that?
What I think is this is a caricature and a mischaracterization of where Democrats are. For example,
no, it's not. I just interviewed the woman 4 minutes ago.
I understand. I understand. And she explained to you, I thought rather soberly, as did Alan Dershowitz, why the policies that she's pursuing might actually have a chance of making a big difference in a positive way, not leading to more crime, incidentally.
No. She's not a criminologist, actually. She is someone expressing her hopes that her policies will succeed, but there's a mountain of evidence, actual evidence, that they won't. But hold on, but you're not answering my question, which is, you really going to get before voters and say, the problem with America is we're too tough on shoplifters and drug dealers? Like, wouldn't normal people say, well, what about me?
So you know
I own a store. I'm not for shoplifting. Is that okay to have that view?
And she explained to you how she would propose to deal with that without spending this money. But you know who's in favor of ending mass incarceration? Chuck Grassley, not some radical pinko Democrat who's working with, you've heard of this guy too, Jared Kushner, and Democrats trying to get criminal justice reform. So this is not just...
I don't care what some Republican says. I don't care about parties. I care about the ideas. And I care about government protecting normal people who aren't illegal aliens or billionaires, just like normal people. Yeah. And they don't seem to be protected under this scheme at all.
Right. And as Rachel Rollins explained to you, the problem with putting somebody who steals a loaf of bread in jail who has no prior record is they become often a hardened criminal, and then they have recidivism, and then you have somebody in society who's much, much worse impact on society generally than you would if you dealt with them kind of in a more measured way. That's all she's trying to do, not say,
but that actually hasn't happened. The opposite has happened. Under this mass incarceration regime that you're upset about, this country's gotten safer. You started our conversation by conceding that. Under Barack Obama, we had mass incarceration. It was the safest time in American history. You just said that.
No,
so mass incarceration protects the rest of us. There's a downside, of course, but it makes us safer.
I think what Grassley, Jared Kushner, Democrats are saying is there's a better outcome, right? We don't have to have mass incarceration to still keep the crime rate low. You're kind of conflating the two, and I think that's actually not fair.
It's fair. Just not. Okay. I think you just got run over by the logic train. But that's
I don't think so. I think actually the facts argue otherwise. Again, we saw in Obama, crime rates are all-time low. What can I say?
Because we had mass incarceration. Richard, thank you.
My pleasure.
Good to see you. We have more ahead on our investigation into NBC News' efforts to cover for Harvey Weinstein's sex crimes. Why did they do that? Who knew?